Did you feel, and this is, I kept this in the input buffer from earlier. Did you feel like you were ready to have your first kid when you had, well, your only kid when you had her, or was it just anxiety? Well, like I don't remember. Is the honest answer. What I will tell you is that you're gonna be fine. I've said this a few times over the past couple of years, but really, like, the first 3 months is like, it's actually, I wouldn't describe it as easy, but it's pretty easy to not mess it up. Like, ooh, you're basically just not sleeping a lot, but the baby is a pretty simple machine. Is like, if they're crying, you give them comfort. And if the comfort doesn't work, you give them milk. And if the milk doesn't work, you check their diaper. And if the diaper's not dirty, then you're like, okay, well, like, enjoy crying. Sometimes they do just, be crying. But you don't have to learn it all, like, on the first day. It's like the first couple of days. I still remember, I feel so stupid that, like, we did like a class before the baby came out. We had like a nurse come to our house and basically teach us how to be how to be parents. And she prepped us really well, but you're still just like, you're stupid, like, because you've never had a kid before. You don't know what's going on. So, like, when we had our baby, we slept in shifts for like 3 days because we were like, oh, we can't all be asleep at the same time because somebody has to have eyes on the child at all times. And then, like, night 4 or 5 or something like that, we all just passed out. And then we were like, this is not the way that nature intended this to work. And then you realize, you just gain sleep when you can. And, like, the baby, especially for the first, like, 7 months or so, maybe even more, they don't even move, really. Like, if you put them somewhere, they're just going to stay there. You shouldn't leave them unsupervised, but, like, you don't have to be, it's not like a teenager where, like, every morning you got to walk by their room and make sure that they're still, like, asleep or something like that and they haven't snuck out to some kind of party. Anyway, the point is, you won't be ready. Your partner will probably be ready. Like, I mean, if you're like 2 weeks away, I mean, I vaguely remember life in the pre-child era. Every day for like the last month was basically just Kate being like, get this baby out of me right now. Do they need to sleep in another room? I think it's up to you. Like, we had the baby, her crib was in the same room as us for like less than the average length of time, I would say. Like, probably 6 months maybe. And then we moved her to her own room. A lot of people have it for like a year. It was helpful for us though, mostly because like it's not even the baby's thing. It's me. Because every time she would make any noise, I would like wake up and look in the crib and be like, try to like see if her chest is still rising and falling. And then, like, I'm so amped up on adrenaline that I'm like, I gotta, it takes me like 40 minutes to go back to sleep. It was self-care for me to have her go into her own room. Same thing, we would never like co-sleep because I would never get some sleep because I would always be like, I'm gonna wake up and be like, sorry, I crushed the baby, But like, by all accounts, I know co-sleeping is not recommended, but like, I know people who have done it, and this is anecdata. Sorry, I'm not trying to say you should do it, but I know lots of people who have done it and it's been okay. But still, like, I wouldn't be able to make it. I know people that still sleep with their 3-year-old in the bed. We had another parent at daycare that co-sleeps with her like 3-year-old daughter, and I don't think it's weird. It's just like, I'm glad it's not me. But I will say, it's been a long time. I'm 34. It's been at least 10 years since I've done this. But as a kid, sleeping in the same bed as your parents feels amazing. Like, if you got scared watching a movie, and then you're like, hey mom, hey dad, I'm scared, and you go in there and you sleep with them, oh man, it feels so good. It's the comfiest, because you're more secure than you've ever been before. or than you've been in a long time. You feel so safe. Meanwhile, your dad is probably like, what the fuck, my fucking back. My fucking... Why is my 9-year-old kid still sleeping in a room with me? The Revolutionary War, he would have been on the damn front lines, like packing black powder into George Washington's musket or something like that. Now I accidentally rented Starship Troopers from the video store thinking it was age appropriate, and the mosquito aliens start slicing off troopers' heads and stuff like that. Now I gotta go to the chiropractor? You'll figure it out. You learn it day by day. It's not like, you know, you have it's not the LSATs, you know, you don't have like a big test on it that you gotta pass. Instead, it's like, you know, day 1 is basically just fucking welcome to the show. And then like day, 5 is like, you have your first diaper blowout or something like that. And then, you just go through bit by bit. The test actually comes like 15 years later when your kid drives, or maybe even like 40 years later when your kid is now an adult and they're driving and they make like a right turn from the middle lane. Then you failed. You failed the test because of the actions of your child. But like you don't have to sweat that at like the baby age. I think the most difficult phase of having children is over or still ahead. I have no idea, but like, sometimes I'll listen to podcasts. They're all about economics. But they, before the economics talk starts, they talk about, like their lives. Some of them have kids that are like my daughter's age. Some of them have kids that are like teenagers. And the ones with teenagers are like, it gets harder every year. And I'm like, it can't be possible. Like, I think my hunch is that it gets harder in different ways. And easier in other ways. Like, I don't think any year could be harder on the mom than like the first year and a half. Especially if you're nursing. You're feeding another mammal from your breast like 12 times a day. And even if you're using formula, like you're still, it's high maintenance, right? Now, sure, as a teenager, like I'm sure that they'll yell at you for like just doing your best and like probably make bad decisions. But, and that's harder. Like I don't have to deal with that for my daughter. Like I never come home or I never pick her up from daycare and I'm like, why do you smell like whiskey? But she might ask that of me. I'm joking. But at the same time, like your kid's in school 8 hours a day and then has like 2 hours of homework and then like, probably wants nothing else but to talk to their friends through the rest of the day. So like you and your spouse actually have some downtime. His ass was not joking. I'm joking. I only drink insert odorless alcohol here. That reminds me of, I was talking about Justin watching that Canadian game show talk about it. Got me laughing because in one of them, they're like, we're going to talk about gin. Okay, for 20 seconds. Gin, it's an alcohol, it's a spirit, it's made from juniper berries. Then I swear to you, this lady says, it's an odorless, colorless, tasteless liquid. I said, what the hell are you talking about? Is it colorless? Yeah. I mean, by default. It's certainly not odorless or tasteless, though. It has like a very particular odor and taste. It's like one of the first things people would mention about gin is like, oh yeah, it kind of tastes like an air freshener.